I'm Lynn Green.
And I'm Jim Green.
As of 2023, Americans as a whole owe around $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, which is a higher debt than any other type of debt in the United States. This incredible amount of debt is extremely important and is constantly being talked about by both the government and the media in the United States about what this amount of debt means and how to get rid of this debt. As someone who is a college student, the student debt crisis is something that impacts me and could potentially have a negative impact on me and many other students if this debt is not solved immediately. This problem is something that is shown to have a main cause being the high costs for students' tuition. Therefore, the government must figure out a solution for this problem. Student loan debt in the United States is continuing to rapidly grow due to the increasing costs for young Americans to pursue a higher education, such as a college or a university. Student loan debt can be an extremely large burden on both the United States as a whole and in the individual people suffering from this debt. As I said before, according to the website LendingTree, as of May 16th, 2023, Americans owe $1.78 trillion in student loan debt, which is more than people owe on any other type of debt in the U.S. except for mortgages, which shows how extreme student debt is in the U.S. currently. All this student debt has quite a poor effect on the economy due to the fact that this debt leads to a reduce in spending. Education data states that economists agree that when consumers have less expendable income due to debt obligations, they decrease spending, which has a poor effect on the economy. Another way that student debt can negatively impact the economy is the fact that student debt can inhibit business growth. Small businesses are especially vulnerable to economic impact of student loan debt as they are the most likely to rely on personal financing. This student loan also affects everyday Americans, and it shows when credit states that at the end of 2022, the Federal Reserve reported that roughly 35.5 million Americans have student debt. This shows which totals over 1.7 trillion. Each borrower owes an average of $37,787. This shows how much debt that individual Americans must suffer from in the United States. There are many factors that have contributed to the increasing student loan debt throughout the past years. The main factor that has caused this extreme amount of student loan debt would be the rapid increase in the cost of tuition in the United States. CNBC states that over the 30 years between 1991 and 2021, average tuition prices more than doubled, increasing to $10,740 from $4,160 at public four-year colleges. Another factor for the cause of the student loan debt crisis would be the amount of interest that these student loan servicers ask for. According to CNBC, as of 2017, the average interest rate stands at 9.66%, which is quite a high interest rate that builds up over the years due to students being unable to make payments for their student debt. Another cause is the cut of government funding for education, which is the leading cause of the reason that prices of tuition go up for higher education in America. Clearly, the student debt crisis is a very serious situation in the United States. It's something that needs to be solved by the United States government. Something that is currently ongoing in the U.S. government is the proposal for loan cancellation and student debt forgiveness. According to an article by the Scottish blog, it states that Biden administration's program actually places over 40 million borrowers in a better position by canceling some or all of their debt. This is a great decision on behalf of the Biden administration to get rid of a lot of student debt in the U.S. to benefit the economy. However, I believe that loan cancellation and student debt forgiveness is only a temporary solution to the student debt crisis, because even if the government can eliminate all student debt, if they don't do anything, the debt will just rise again. I believe that overall, the best solution for the student debt crisis is for the government to be able to control the tuition costs of these universities, mainly through government funding. High tuition is the main cost of the student loan debt being able to reach as high, so I believe that in order for the government to prevent a future student loan crisis, they must make tuition costs affordable enough for students through government funding so they do not have to resort to student loans. In conclusion, clearly the student debt has become a real problem in the United States and is negatively impacting the economy and the life of everyday Americans. The government needs to provide funding towards universities and colleges so that tuition will lower and people will be able to afford a higher education without the need for any sort of loan, keeping the student loan debt in the United States low. Therefore, clearly the student loan debt crisis is a serious issue with many different causes, and it needs to be stopped immediately.